Welcome back to the Brew Podcast, everyone. This is episode 282. Here we are, back at it. Lots of stuff to discuss. Lots of things to discuss. Weather's great.
For the mold people, it's 59 right now.
It's 59.
The middle of June.
It's June. Middle of June. Just great.
The best, though.
Great weather for June.
No one would complain.
But it's about to get balls hot.
Yep.
Only thing I have really, I have two things.
Two things.
Connor O'Malley is a comedian. He has a special on YouTube. I highly recommend it. It's
Connor O'Malley.
Yeah, it's funny. But I'm not sponsored by him or anything. Just putting out there my interests. And secondly,
do you listen to Jeffrey Asmus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually tried to. I was looking through his tour thing.
He was just in Cincinnati.
I know. What the fuck? Because I looked and it didn't list Cincinnati. This was like a month ago.
Yeah.
Didn't list Cincinnati. I was going to say we should go, but it wasn't on the list. And then I found out he was there.
I don't know if I could be brave enough to sit in the front in one of his shows because he does crowd work.
He's good at it.
And he's super sharp and smart.
Just let him do it. It'd be great. Him or Stavros Halkias or whatever his name is. He does great crowd work.
He must be Greek.
Yeah.
The one time I sat in front, and he's a big comic, and he's on a couple of podcasts I listen to, is Alonzo Bowden.
No, I don't know.
So he was on Last Comic Standing or whatever. I think he was season 1 or 2, and he won. Big 6'6" African-American gentleman. And so you're taking... he worked at the Skunk Works, but anyways, became a comedian after that. So he's from Texas. And I sat in front... And I do Intel for a living. And so this was like 2009, 2010. I was in San Antonio and we're like, hey, let's go see this comedian. And we're sitting in front and he goes, what do you do for a living? And to my buddy Salty, and Salty goes, oh, I'm a flyer. He's like, oh, okay. And without knowing that Alonzo worked at Skunk Works, so he can talk aircraft. Mm-hmm. And was talking aircraft. He goes, hey, what's your buddy do? And I go, Intel. And he goes, you got to be the dumbest motherfucker. Al-Qaeda busted in this door. There he is, right there. Get him. And I just loved it. And he was sharp, just like that.
Yeah,
I was.
That's very sharp.
And
very quick.
I was gutted. Like
Jeffrey Asmus is just like that. Very fast. He's great, and he'll tell you when he's got a good joke.
Yeah.
So that was a good one.
And he's very sardonic, where he can cut on himself. This is a terrible topic.
Yeah.
But just being in Cincinnati, and I just was watching his stuff this last weekend. And I was like, oh, fuck. Because he's a guy who would go to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I watched the Cincinnati stuff he put out. So Connor O'Malley's from Illinois. He also is in, surprise, surprise, he's one of the side characters in I Think You Should Leave on Netflix. But he's a stand-up comedian, and he does this special, and he just posted the whole thing to YouTube for free. Where he is the CEO of an AI company.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. He carries that shtick through the entire thing. And he's giving like a Steve Jobs-like presentation.
While he's doing a stand-up.
Yeah.
Not
the whole thing's jokes.
Interesting.
The whole thing's jokes, but it's in the form of like a AI CEO presentation, much like Steve Jobs. It's very funny. I laughed out loud several times. So wanted to say that. Also, second thing, went to Pine Club with Phil. Thanks, Phil, for buying dinner that night. I continue to be disappointed with their beer selection.
It's not okay.
It's steak.
I can,
and it's $50 steak. You can buy a beer with that.
I can be with you. Like, you can be
I know where you're going.
I'm not saying that you're not allowed to be disappointed.
I know where you're going. Get a cocktail.
No. But don't they have it's been a while since I've...
They have Brooklyn IPAs. They had
Sam
Dead
Adams?
Guy.
Sam Adams.
I don't even... When people say Sam Adams, I don't even hear it. No matter where I am, if that's one of the choices, I don't even hear them say it.
So Brooklyn,
Brooklyn's fine. I had that last time I was there.
Is it Brooklyn IPA or Brooklyn Brewery?
It's Brooklyn Brewery, but it's...
They have a Rogue?
I believe it's their IPA.
They have a Rogue?
Yeah, they have a Rogue, yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to... because Jim Klein will listen.
Dead Guy's good.
No hate.
Dead Guy Ale. I think it's just an ale. It was fine. It went good with the steak. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they need better beer selection.
Interesting.
And I feel like I love that place. The waitresses treat me so well. But the other people who eat there are all assholes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Fuck all of the people who eat at Pine Club, except for me, Phil, Matt, my family, his family, and anyone else who I know personally who eats there.
Does Phil have a house account?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the way to do it.
I felt like
I love getting that bill in the mail.
Enjoyed saying, put it on my account. He was just like, put it on my account. I was like, whoa.
Yep.
Whoa.
It's the best.
Who am I eating dinner with?
Then they just send a bill at the end of the month.
I'm eating dinner with, the Sopranos here.
Yeah, at the bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing.
Bada bing.
Put it on my account. Gabagool. It was awesome. So he bought for my son, too, my oldest son. And he had never eaten at Pine Club, so that was good for him to experience.
That's an experience.
Yeah, it was good.
And that's like the nice, like, that age where it makes an impression.
Yeah.
You don't want to take, like, a 10-year-old there.
Yeah.
Not.
And so I took him home and I was like, all right, no T-shirts. Let's put on a collared shirt, even a polo shirt. So he threw on a polo shirt. We got there, sure as shit, the people sitting next to us, all in T-shirts. So it was kind of funny.
Well, so
as a parent,
I had the most expensive at Disney. I don't know if I covered this last week. It was called STK.
Yeah.
Did I talk about it last week?
Not in great detail.
Okay, so STK, most expensive meal I've ever had. I didn't order a beer. I don't even remember. I should have taken a note for the podcast what kind of beer they had or whatever. But because it was in Disney, I was worried about being dressed down. Oh, yeah, there's people and they're just surviving because the heat was 96. But you'd look around and see people like in shorts, like athletic shorts and a T-shirt. But at that...
Times are changing.
It's the same way with like travel. Like people complain about it too.
Oh, yeah, I don't complain about it.
Flying and...
I actually like it.
Flip-flops.
I'm in favor of it.
But
suits don't make sense in almost any situation anymore. Suits have become the tuxedo of the suit world. You wearing them makes no sense. What am I gonna go to a meeting to talk about coding in a fucking suit? Hell no, dude. That's crazy. Maybe church requires it, and even that obviously doesn't require it. But significant events in your family's life and your friends' lives. Otherwise, maybe a nice restaurant, obviously, because they require it. But I'm not going to any of those places.
Yeah.
Not gonna spend my money on that food. Been to Pine Club. That's all I need. Paragon.
Again, it's just you're paying for the experience, and it's almost like an Anthony Bourdain situation where I still order a Negroni, like just experience what you're doing, or throw if you have the means.
Experience what you're doing.
Throw out order a second appetizer, or treat yourself, or like the missus. Get the entire bottle of wine, because by the time you get 2 glasses, you're at the price point already. You might as well get something you can carry out with you. I'm not saying drink the whole bottle while you're sitting there or whatever, but ask the waiter, what they recommend for what their recommendations if they don't freely offer them. I'm just 100% all for that. So this last weekend, JT and I were talking about, it was my anniversary, 11th anniversary, my Steel gift, which is going to be podcast related. So she ordered it from a place in Illinois. Nice. So that's the second time. She ordered it on the 22nd of May. Anniversary's on the 8th of June. She emailed them on the 7th because the shipping tag had been created and it didn't move. 30 minutes after she emailed them, it moved. So they totally forgot about it. 100%.
Yeah, 100% did.
But I'm excited to show it off next week. It's a koozie holder. So she showed me a picture at my... Steel was tough for both of us.
Steel, I feel like that would be easy. Steel is famously iron and what? Iron and I used to know.
It's right there too.
It's a very common metal. It's a common metal. Steel and I don't know. I'll think of it. It's iron and something else.
We're showing how well rounded we are.
Dave? You know.
But
that seems like it wouldn't be difficult.
He's screaming at it. But anyways, like bauxite, I thought was iron and coke or something like that to temper it a little bit more. But so then for my wife, I got stainless steel. Stainless steel is a lot more. It's easy. It's still a steel.
Oh, stainless steel is easy for a woman. If you're stereotyping. But stainless steel everywhere at Williams and Sonoma.
Oh yeah, no pots and pans, right? And I got her a desk wedge for her promotion, so it says her,
a desk wedge.
Yeah,
she got a desk.
Yeah, so she got her own office now.
Ooh.
So now it will identify her. But anyways, So we went to Barrel House, beer related. I saw Rush down there because Sarah was only working till 5.
You saw Rush down there, the band?
No, we rushed down there because we saw Sarah was only working till 5, and I wanted to say hello. And then she was switching out with Matt, so we sat and talked to them for a little bit. It was interesting what you were talking about earlier about the clubs. We don't have to talk about it on here because I was definitely we were underrepresented. I will say that. But it's nice to walk into a place and just be like, hey, just whatever Sarah recommends. I will just take it, and I'll be happy. I do that at 2 places. I do that at King's Table. Tam Tots always gets my first one, and then Sarah will always get my first one at Barrel House.
Smart.
And then I said, Matt, I have X amount of dollars. What should I buy? And then he just ran me down some things. I bought 75% of what he said. Then we went to Tender Mercy for cocktails. And this is what my go-to cocktail. I typically order off menu is a whiskey sour. I'm in a big whiskey sour.
That's a good one.
Wasn't on their menu. But again, don't feel they're going to, cater you to something.
Bars are bars. They'll make whatever you want.
But I wanted a rye whiskey. I wanted a rye bourbon sour. And nailed it. It's amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
I came in with 0 expectations. And then we went to a Mexican restaurant called Sueño, and that was awesome. But modern Mexican, so if you're... there was no refried beans. It was pinto beans all cooked up, but I still had to order beans. You got to order beans when you go to a place
like that. You got to order beans.
But that was my other big thing. And the other thing that we didn't talk about that we need to bring up, and we are big fans. We've done him on the podcast. We've done him on the podcast before, is Arche Brewing. Arche Brewing closed back in March, but I messaged JT a couple weeks ago, towards the end of May, that Arche was still available on tap around the area.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had a Dynamite beer from them, and so I went to look it up on Untapped, and it said permanently closed. So I discovered that Arche is closed by Untapped.
That sucks.
So whatever you have for the Ohio people, whatever you have from Arche, apparently their GoFundMe didn't work. There's thoughts and stuff that we can do about that. A lot of there was a big ask on GoFundMe, but unfortunate. One of the gypsy brewers and vanguards of the Ohio brewery scene for quite a few years, and then unfortunately closed.
Yeah, I mean, there's I think they were successful for a while. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know their works, but there's obviously a model to follow, and Branch and Bone has figured it out. Because I consider them to be somewhat similar in the way that they make and probably market their beers. The only difference is Arche went big on distribution in Ohio, and so we had it here. 2 different locations. I think where is that from? Toledo? Yeah, up north. Yeah. And so it's like we got it here pretty regularly. Whereas I think Branch and Bone's probably not really proliferated yet. No, they self-distribute. Yeah. And they will tell you about that. So they have to drive their vehicle because of the distribution laws in Ohio. They have to drive their vehicle down to Cincinnati, get weighed, and then drive it back and then self-distribute from there. But crazy. The distribution laws vary state to state. That's why I was talking about when I was in Minnesota for Waconia, how they distribute. It just again the laws, but Minnesota and Ohio are in cahoots a little bit, or similar, that the state owns the liquor. So JT makes a fine bourbon or a fine gin, he has to sell it to the state, and when the state makes a profit, then JT makes a profit, but they have to, otherwise you just get your stock back. I don't like it. Yeah, it's just odd. There's a lot of weird funny business going on with the way things work. That's the blue laws for you. Really dumb. Should we go with the first beer? Yeah, let's go with the first beer. I was just going to say. I was going to get into a rant about how taxation is theft and, liquor laws are bullshit, because they are. And taxation is theft. But let's get into the first beer instead. So I thought I had an even number of beers. I'll get right into that. From my trip, I actually had an odd number, and today... I waited until today to find that out, unfortunately. That's just life, man. It does happen. So this is from Springfield, Missouri. We passed through Missouri, and then I mentioned I didn't get anything from Illinois and Indiana because we get a lot from Illinois and Indiana. So those were the last 2 states we went through on our way home. This is Mother's Brewing Company, Lil Helper. which is a Midwest Coast India Pale Ale, which is why I bought this beer. You'd assume I bought it because there's dogs on it, because I love dogs. But it's because it was a Midwest Coast IPA, and we've talked a lot about having an Ohio style. And this just kind of fits the mold. So let's crack this thing open. 3, 2, 1. And so we'll find out what this is. But it's a 7% alcohol. Whoops. Spilled a little.
We've all been there. Oh, what's in this can? I'm going to have... I'm just going to... Because there are thoughts, and you can use the whole thing.
I can use it?
Oh, yeah.
All right,
That's what these are here for, because I'll wash them.
Okay.
So, I need to have a moment of honesty. I used to be really good with like dates and commemorations and everything like that, and I still am. But one date that I always forget is this guy's birthday next to me.
Oh, you do?
So I do. I know
yours.
I know the number and I know the month, but there's 2 months that start with a J next to each other. So when I was at, this is a moment of honesty. When I was
appreciate the honesty.
Barrel House, I was like, and it was June 8th, I was like, JT's birthday is coming up. If it's not today, it's coming up.
That's true.
And so I was like, well, I'll get him some. And there's a couple of things there that we've talked about. And here's going to be your hint. In the last few podcasts, we've talked about beers.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, on a beer podcast. So I picked up your gifts already. And then I got home and I was thinking about it. I was ruminating about it. I was enjoying my anniversary. I was enjoying I was like, it's not today. It's not today. And then I psyched myself out of it. So then I came to the realization I knew it was July, but I already have your gifts bought.
Whoa.
So I'm excited about that. But I owe you an apology that I
don't
forgot your birthday. But now I remembered it. But,
thanks for doing that.
So that was the moment of honesty brought to you by the podcast. The podcast now is sponsoring Moments of Honesty.
That's excellent.
I wish I'm
glad that you have at least some moments of honesty, and that we can identify when they are. But I think you're pretty honest when you're not saying how honest you are.
Yeah, there was a moment.
It's nice that you're not lying a lot.
What? I mean, embellish, draw up, be more magnanimous in person. But I thought that was But yeah, so I like being prepared. So then when JT said, because this Rolex he goes, hey Matt, bad news. Odd amount of beers. I was literally a driving liquor store when I was coming back from the West Coast. Is there a beer that you can provide? And I go, oh, there are more than a few that I can provide, but I wanted to make sure. I just asked him the style of beer that was going to be for today. Because there are beers for you that would pair excellently, but they're your birthday beer.
Oh, yikes. Okay. Got it.
But I mean, I've got tons. I always try to keep a well-stocked fridge.
It was a traveling liquor store. I like the description now.
Traveling liquor store. Like a gypsy. Like the wagon wheels and the oddly shaped, and just booze.
Like a gypsy. I don't know how gypsies travel.
Like a caravan.
Oh, okay.
Like an old school. Think of the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
But covered wagon, but with a lot more, like a little bit more modern covered wagon with a little bit more color than the pine boards and the canvas top.
Okay, a little bit more color.
And
okay,
like a door that swings out.
Yeah. I think I get what you're saying. Interesting enough, just to plug Dayton, there's a covered wagon for tracked covered wagon at Carillon. They have the train museum there.
Oh yeah.
Have you been there? There's a covered wagon. The oldest. It's like the oldest of its type in existence, and it's still in like great shape. And you can look at it. It looks uncomfortable.
That's one of my easiest. Speaking of Dayton, but they're all available in other municipalities. I still want to do a pedal pub. I've never done a pedal pub. Oh, you've
never done it? Nope. We should do it. Maybe we should get one together. I did one for a birthday in Dad's group. Oh man, it was excellent.
Yeah, and that's
very much your style.
It seems like something easily attainable.
The person
it's not
who
like
runs
climbing Everest.
becomes your friend for the night, which is something I see you being very fond of. It's just a very social thing.
Well, we had that offer when we did the a beer podcast when we did the last Ale Fest. And I don't know. I mean, we went around, but they had the advertisement there, and it just happened to be one of Stacy's coworkers that was involved with the business. But that was a few years ago. But yeah, no, that's something. And they'd take you around. You went to bars, right?
You get haunts. So they give you like a list of 10, and you can choose 5.
Even better.
Yeah, it's
choose
awesome.
your own adventure.
Yeah, it was cool.
I've always wanted to coordinate it with a fantasy football draft. Turn on some hot spots.
That'd be cool.
Really challenge yourself.
Interesting. That'd be an interesting day.
Really challenge yourself.
Like do a couple picks per place.
Like, come on, Todd. Like, pedal. I know it's your pick. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You can have the loser of the last season. Kind of do more pedaling than everyone else.
Which reminds me of another story, Mudlick Tavern, which is downtown Dayton.
Yeah, went there for the first time. I totally forgot.
Yeah, they are closing up shop.
What? They're closing?
Yes, that location. I think they'll
downtown.
I still think they'll keep the Germantown location. I didn't get the whole story, so that's why it's fantastic. We did one of our drafts there, but everyone got. That's why we just started hosting it because it became easier. But yeah, so because they're close friends, and so they're going to be.
That's unfortunate.
They're going to be opening a location, or they're already once it's open in Cincinnati or the other. So they're getting out of the Dayton downtown.
Well, that sucks. Stay in Dayton downtown. Dayton downtown's growing.
It is. Unfortunately, there's been a rash of vandalism up along 3rd Street. Like DK Effect just got vandalized, and there's another one. It didn't reach quite down to Barrel House, I don't think, or Sweeney or Tender Mercy, but
interesting. I liked Mudlick. Very good food.
Oh yeah, they do a good job. Jen, well, you know that they are the ones that bought Alefest, right?
Oh, okay.
Jen,
I didn't know that.
Jen and her husband.
I don't know Jen and her husband, so that's great.
The original location was in Germantown, and then they expanded. So that's the Aaron and Karina connection.
Yeah.
So
they had good beer selection there.
Oh yeah.
Although they had too many sours for Aaron, I don't know. He might need to disown that friendship.
It's not that there's not. He respects it.
He doesn't respect it.
You just have to make. You just have to make sure that there's other.
He told me he doesn't respect it.
You just have to make sure
he doesn't respect the beer
varieties.
Itself, the people who drink it, or the people who
other
brew
varieties.
Or sell it.
Other varieties.
He wants his bars to only exclusively sell what he likes, which is IPAs, I think. I don't know, stouts.
I would have to get, because he's the one that told me to get my house account at Pine Club when we went there a couple of times. I would have to get his. I don't think he's a gin and tonic guy when we're out though. He's not.
God, we're
Sorry,
just
Stacey.
so misaligned, but we're so aligned professionally. It's so disappointing to hear that we're so unaligned personally. Because we both like the same type of work, but I don't like gin. Gin's dumb.
It's an acquired taste, that's for sure. I don't know. I think that's a drink that's dying. I think that's declining.
Good. It fucking sucks. It's garbage. Get rid of gin.
One of the worst hangovers.
Have better bourbon.
One of the worst hangovers I ever had in my life. I was doing gin and tonics and then White Russians. Gin and tonic, White Russian, and that was after.
I bet that puke was interesting.
I puked at an Oasis driving home. I made it about an hour into a drive. Yeah.
Ooh.
And I puked right outside. That Oasis is one of the ones that it still survives, and they're not. Oh yeah.
In Illinois.
Yeah, and then Aaron took the wheel from me, and he's like, "You've already ran 5 red lights. I'm not. I'm not."
He was your Jesus
downtown.
that day.
I had a seafood eggs Benedict. And
oh yeah, that would be nice.
I came back up.
Ooh. So you did sleep it off, but you were hungover.
Yeah, because we had to leave Milwaukee.
Yeah,
really.
hangover driving's almost like drunk driving in a sense that you're not impaired, like visually and mentally.
You're worried on your comfort.
So you're just so worried about your own health that.
Have you read about these little shots? It's like 5-hour energy, but it's called Factor. It's supposed to get rid of. I'm gonna buy them. It's $10 a shot because I want to try it out for a vacation that we have coming up. But you drink that as your first drink, and then drink throughout the night, and you won't be hungover. And it's got amazing reviews.
I've heard Pedialyte works magic.
That's like afterward.
Yeah,
this is like before, because what you're trying to do is coat. Everyone thinks that hangover is because of you're dehydrated. This is because your body responds to the toxins, which sounds like kabuki anyways, but I'm reading the reviews, and they don't seem cooked.
Okay.
But it's like $10. I'm gonna buy it. I will.
Let's try it.
It's gonna be a while off.
Try it out. I want to hear about it.
But it's the first drink that
If
you
it
do
works,
because
yeah.
everyone's like, oh, I'll drink this. I know people that will put back in the day would put bottles of Gatorade in bed. Because they knew they wouldn't go to bed until they slugged the Gatorade and they swore by it, and then they woke up with like a bacon sandwich.
Nice. That's smart.
Yeah.
It's grease and hydration. That's
grease,
what will
salt, and hydration.
Cure your hangover. And you know what? They're tried and true.
I want to know hangover cures. Put them below.
Yeah, hangover cures.
We're getting a little light on the traffic. Put some.
Mine are hydration and grease. Greasy foods the next day. So hydration night of. Greasy foods next day. Even night of, you could have some greasy foods. If you can find your way to a McDonald's or something, grab a double cheeseburger, you might wake up in a little bit of a better mood. Yeah. I think.
It just sucks that you can't sleep through. Like, you're so uncomfortable that your body is just like, you need to wake up. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want you to have this headache.
Remember this.
Mm-hmm. God, I hate hangovers. They're the worst. And you get them more and more as you get older. Like, easier.
Like the 2-day hang, like after some of like the parties and stuff we used to have, the 2-day hangover is the like.
Oh yeah, I haven't
where
had
you're
a
not
2-day hangover yet.
But lethargic.
Yeah.
Lethargic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like you're like, oh my, like you're just trying to kick out.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely gonna have to partake in some hydration this weekend. Going to Stankonia, as I mentioned earlier.
Stankonia.
Going to Atlanta. Just north of Atlanta for a baseball tournament, but the parents group that we have for this is phenomenal. Just the best parents group. Even the coach said, I have the best parents group of all the teams at this organization, which he's right. As almost an entire team, we're going to the Braves game. This is going to be awesome.
Who's the opponent?
Rays. I cannot believe how sold out this game is.
Maybe
if you've been to Truist, it's 4 fucking decks. And it is nearly sold out this whole game.
I thought seating-wise, it was one of the smaller parks.
I wonder if there's a giveaway or something. Because it's...
What day of the week is it?
Friday.
It's going to be a giveaway.
It's got to be a giveaway because Saturday's not sold out.
And because Acuna's not playing. I got so much shit for that.
Acuna.
My 2 best players are out. I'm just getting real.
I will say, sometimes you go to a stadium and you're like, this place is fine.
Yeah.
Or it sucks. The White Sox field is somewhat like that. You're like,
that park.
I'm currently watching a baseball game.
Yeah.
And that is it. Period. You know, Wrigley has its mystique and its magistry from being old. I really enjoy Petco Park. I think Petco Park is probably one of the best stadiums in the league. Definitely top 5. But Truist, man, did I have a great time there watching 2 teams I give no shits about. But it was so much fun. The atmosphere is great. Braves fans were really into it.
Yeah, 41,000.
41. Wow, that is low. Yeah, that's about Wrigley Field size.
Yeah.
But they do have 4 decks, so it looks full. It looks much bigger. It's
vertical.
Yeah. And like when they do the tomahawk chop and stuff, it's just like the whole place is electric. It's awesome. So hopefully the game is good and it's close and not a blowout. Because if it's close, it'll be fun. So we're going to do that. That'll be great. It'll be 100 degrees. And I'll probably have some alcohol, and I'll need to hydrate. So I'll be sweating a lot.
Wear a bandana.
I might do that.
I always tell it's not just a gimmick, people. Like, I lived in Disney in bandana. Like, it's
I think
my signature.
It would be easier if I had established my identity as someone who wore a bandana, but I haven't done that. And this is a good group of parents. They might give me some jabs and stuff. And,
as they should.
Maybe I'll not wear a bandana so I can avoid that, or maybe I'll wear it. Who knows?
I just beat people into submission.
But I just, I think it's gonna be fun going to a Braves game. Like the whole team took over the whole section. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be cool.
How many people? Like parents included?
There's 16 players on the team, which is a lot of baseball players for one team. But that's a conversation for another time. So one parent each at least. So
and some people just make it a vacation, so there will be like
there'll be 2 parents.
Patty and Jim both come for
and like a 3rd kid
for their
kid,
Pine Rider.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. So it'll be a big event. It'll be nice. It'll be cool to get out. And we'll have a game earlier that day, so hopefully we win. And that's just how it is. You know, these national teams, they're pretty
Are
hard.
you convoying,
They're
or is
pretty-
it like a bunch of different
bunch
of different vehicles? It's
Yeah.
not just like one.
We don't have just one that can fit everybody. We
Well, I
have
didn't
like
know
a
like if
bus.
you guys rented a coach bus.
That'd be cool. We should do that.
It is Oakwood.
No, it's not Oakwood.
Oh, this is
No,
Oakwood.
this is a travel baseball team. This is all of like southern Ohio.
Southern Ohio, like the brewery.
And there's 2 kids from Indiana on the team.
Holy buckets!
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good team. It's a team it's an aggregate of the area.
Wow,
It's not just Oakwood.
massive.
That would be the high school team. They would never do this. They would never go to Atlanta. We would never hang out together, I don't think.
I'm gonna try to get
Sadly.
to Southern Ohio this week. I think
Southern Ohio Brewery or
Yes.
Southern Ohio?
Southern Ohio Brewery.
Okay. Yeah, let me know how it goes.
Still haven't been there.
Yeah, it's fine. So this is Mother's their website. I have to give props. Their website's very good.
Really?
Yeah, it's very good. They give on the homepage. They give. So there's the beer, which is common, but if you go below that,
A little bit to
they
your.
give you descriptions of every beer they make.
Take it a little bit to your right.
That's really great. Just don't hopefully no alerts come in. You can't see it.
Yeah.
I would suggest you go to mothersbrewing.com.
That's just it. Mother's Brewing.
Yep.
Wow.
Like they'll tell you about all the beers that they make. Really nice. They got little pictures of the color profile.
It's nice being informative, right?
Yeah, it's good being informative. Yeah, and they got 21 taps in-house. They tell you about that. They give you the hours. Everything's on the site. There's literally nothing like all the information I would want by going to a brewer's website, which is typically what are your hours, what beers do you have. It's all there. So there you go. Springfield, Missouri. A lot of Springfields. This is one of them. There's a Springfield, Ohio, and a Springfield, Illinois. Springfield, Illinois is the capital, but not in Missouri. It's not the capital of Missouri. But yeah, we passed through there. We went over the river, saw the arch. We didn't stop because we'd stopped at the arch last time we were in St. Louis, which was for Royal Rumble a couple years ago.
Did you do the big shoe factory jungle gym? I told you, like 10-story jungle gym with bars in it.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
we didn't do that. Is that the one next to the stadium?
I don't know where it's an old converted shoe, but it goes outside too.
Oh
it's
man,
a 10-story factory, but then they have this giant jungle gym. There's restaurants in there, bars in there,
wow.
and just
I didn't
slides.
do that. We should have done that. Shit. Well, there is a something next to Busch Stadium that allows you to see in the games, but it's not part of the stadium.
Oh,
it's not part of the stadium. It's like a factory next door. I don't know. St. Louis is a weird town. Some say St. Louis is one of the most boring cities in America. I could see that being true.
that was when I first got into contracting. That was the first contract I was applied to. Was a contract that was at NGA West, which is St. Louis.
St. Louis.
We didn't win it though. We were looking.
I was trying to go there.
We were looking at places to live in that area though for a while.
It is pretty boring. There's not like even Dayton has some identity, where St. Louis, I don't know what their identity is other than you got Anheuser-Busch, which we went to.
Yeah, that
was cool. But there's just like everything there you could find somewhere else.
Oh, so nothing's like a unique or
except for Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah,
and the Arch. But like all of their restaurants, there's nothing unique about those. They don't really have a regional food that they're famous for. There's all the craft breweries are just fine.
So that's the only one I'm going to challenge. So Perennial Artisan Ales is out of St. Louis, and they had the highest rated beer. Like it was them and Pliny for like the teens with Abraxas.
Okay, fair enough. But that doesn't make St. Louis an exciting city. They had Mark McGuire for a while, and that worked.
Big Macland.
Yeah, they had that. That's good. I want to find cool things to do in St. Louis. It's not far.
I told you, there's that, again.
There's this warehouse. That's cool.
But it's outside, too.
I want to do that. Is there a Six Flags there or anything?
Yes.
There's a baseball team. And there used to be a football team, but they're gone.
Well, they have
have a hockey team.
They have the Battle Hawks now, which have the highest they almost sell out the Edward Jones Dome or whatever it is.
What is the Battlehawks?
The UFL team now.
UFL.
Yeah, it was not the arena, but it was the USFL or the XFL.
I would like to add that I think that this WNBA hype and all of the media and all of the ticket sales, I think that's all fake. I'm just gonna add that in. I think that we're being sold a story, and that's it. I don't think anyone gives two fucks about the WNBA, even with Caitlin Clark. Gamblers do, of course. People who bet do. But I do think that it is fake news media.
It's called the City Museum in St. Louis. It's 10-story,
Shit, that's crazy, dude.
Restaurants and everything. I still haven't been there.
Chaos is awesome.
Right.
Pretty sweet.
Like you can just for hours just climb around it.
That's really cool. All right, look that up. Oh yeah, that looks awesome. It does look fun. All right.
Massive ball pits.
I wish that there
but
was
it goes
more.
Indoors.
Like I always say, Dayton's underrated, and I feel like someone from St. Louis might say Dayton's boring. So I'll give them a benefit of the doubt. There's probably things there.
There's
that
a
I
bus.
don't know about.
There's a bus 8
But
stories
Dayton's
up.
pretty good. It's a pretty good little city here. You got like all the history. You got the Air Force Museum. You got Carillon. You got all the breweries we have, which are amazing. Decent food. I mean, Pine Club's like the 3rd best steakhouse in the country. But according to not me, but I mean it's a place I've been. But it's they got a lot of accolades here in Dayton. St. Louis, not as much.
Yeah, and Dayton proper is like 150. I know the metropolitan area is over 1 million because you have a bunch of suburbs.
Yeah,
but
you got
Dayton as a whole isn't that big of a city.
Yeah, but they have a lot to do. It's good stuff. Century Bar. We could go over the whole list. But St. Louis, I don't know. I don't want it to be boring. I like the arch. They take you up in that thing, and you see it, and you're like, oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
I'm done now.
It does. If I see it, cool. If I don't, it's not high up. I want to get to the city museum before I get to the arch.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. It sounds like I do too. But I've already done the arch, so
yeah,
can't say that would be true for me. What else? Well, that's it. So we got Springfield, Missouri. Lil Helper, Mother's Brewing, great website. Thanks for that website. You want to give your thoughts first?
Yes. So I really like how clean and crisp and soapy this tastes. This has like just not cilantro or whatever, but just like a vibrance and where it leaves the palate clean. If that's the
signature, like when you get shampoo in your mouth on accident.
Yep. I enjoy, but I
could see that.
It's pleasing. It's not like a detergent, where like the cleaner or whatever. Off the top rope, if this is a typical Midwest Coast IPA, which I dig, I laud this beer at a off the top rope 4.5. This is crushable at a 7%. I dig this. The only thing I would do differently, I know, is I would just amp up the citrus, but does that clean, light body texture get retarded a little bit with that citrus because everything's in a balance. But I really dig. I would buy this. This could be a daily drinker for me. Not a problem at all.
Yeah. For those who like mowing sounds, this is the podcast for you.
I thought about closing the door.
It's all good.
I don't think it picks it. It is picking it up.
It's picking up. Well, here's the thing. You have a Surface, and I'll have to give Microsoft credit where credit's due. They have been working on background suppression for audio more than most, and I think Teams has nailed it.
The Surface isn't doing anything. The camera, though, is expensive, and the microphone is. Everything is not Surface anymore.
Oh, so no Surface algorithms are being run.
Yeah, so the camera's...
The camera's there, the mic's here.
The Logitech.
Okay, well, if you're ever on a Teams call and there's people mowing, it will suppress the mowing. It understands... They've written some machine learning to understand background noise. And my dogs have even barked, and people have said they didn't hear them. So they have they've trained some models on how to detect and erase dog barking, which is amazing. So
with Teams, I hate it because there's no dial-in option.
Yeah, there is. It's a dial-out. You have to have it call you.
Yeah. So when
but there is a dial-in option.
So when I'm sitting in a skiff like Zoom, I can get a phone number, a meeting ID, and a participant ID. I can't get that.
Also, yeah, it's in teams, but you have to have so they only authorize like managers and bosses.
Yeah.
You need to get on the list. So when you create the teams and it creates the links, for me, when I create a meeting, it puts the number in there. This is really fascinating stuff.
Yeah. This is
actually what we do all
So we
day.
don't have that. We have a Zoom, but
Zoom.
It's easier for people that work outside of a skiff or whatever just to click the Teams button and everyone joins, like the immediacy of it.
Yeah. Teams is way better than Zoom. Zoom sucks.
But that doesn't work if I can't dial in.
Yeah.
And so we always tell people, because the earners are in the building, in the secure building, that they can't use a microphone. They have to have a phone number to dial into. And so we always have to remind people, like, hey, use Zoom so then we can dial in.
Use Zoom.
So I don't have to walk out to my car.
Or get the dial-in number for Teams. Like, don't, pay the extra $1 or whatever it is. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I love dogs, and there's dogs on this can. I think dogs are some sort of gift to humanity. I don't know why. If you raise them right, there's some real shitty dogs out there.
They're shitty owners.
Yeah, shitty owners, right. After my first set of dogs died, I thought, I'm never going to get another dog again. That was devastating. And then I got more dogs, so here we are. And then there's tools. So Lil Helper is the name of the beer, and it appears as though the dog, which would be considered kind of man's best friend, would be the Lil Helper, using some of these tools. Now Santa's Lil Helper in The Simpsons, I guess. Is Lil Helper a thing that people call dogs?
No.
Okay, so I don't know what the association is then. And then the Mother's Brewing Company is one of those heart tattoos. That's clever because the name's Mother's, and the heart tattoo traditionally with mom in it. 70 IBUs. And this can style, this is not unique, is it?
What's that?
Like where there's the ribbon around the top.
Oh yeah, no.
Someone else does this as like a kind of a trademark of theirs.
Where they just have like on the top fifth of the 20% of the can a big ribbon.
Yeah.
Man, I can't
I feel like I don't know.
I know I've seen it though.
Yeah. Anyway, good can art. It's fine. It's got dogs on it. How could you hate it? They describe some stuff on here. They tell you that it's Cascade, Centennial, Columbus, Simcoe hops, and a white picket fence. All right. Talk about notes and a bunch of other stuff. Pair with blue cheese burgers.
That's weird.
Spicy wings and curries. Oh, you know what? It would be good with a curry, actually. This beer would be good with a curry. I don't know about the blue cheeseburger.
A Thai curry or an Indian curry?
Thai.
Thai.
Indian curry.
Sweeter.
I'm not sure I'm going to drink beer with Indian food. Period. I'm more on the water side with Indian food. It's so thick and it's just too filling. With Thai, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot to talk about there. Spicy wings, yeah, maybe I could see spicy wings because this is what I would agree with you. This is a standard. The Can Burner segment's over, by the way. We can play our outro if there's one. That's it. That's the outro. Yeah, I agree that this could be a standard, and I think it is a standard for Mother's Brewing. I think it's their main beer. It's their truth. So are we settling on Midwest Coast IPA as being a partially West Coast, partially
I'm not smart enough.
I don't know that there's a thing there. This is the first I've seen, and I bought it because of that. I wanted to talk about what a Midwest Coast could be, and you said in your review that something about you liking a Midwest Coast IPA, like this is right up your alley or something.
Yes.
Like as if you'd had it before. So I don't know if I'm maybe forgetting a Midwest Coast. Midwest, is it middle West Coast? Like maybe we're talking like Sacramento or some middle part of California, or are we talking Midwest and coast being a funny pun?
What is a Midwest style IPA? It's tough to define. Exhibit a balance of malt character with some depth and complexity that are hopped at a similar rates as WIPAs.
Yeah.
Using primarily American hops for flavors. Okay, so I can see that. Balancing your malts, depth of flavor, hopped like a whippa. That's why I like it.
Yeah, that's why you like it. I think it's a good standard beer. Don't let it get warm. The last sip I just had was awful.
West Coasts are boiled longer than a Midwest.
Oh, okay. Boiled longer. All right, that makes sense. I think it's a good beer. It's got a good hop combination. It's got a good profile. It's got a refreshingness about it that was unexpected. I didn't know what to expect with Midwest Coast. So yeah, it's fine. It's a good beer. But it is a standard. I'm not giving it like a crazy score. 3.5. 4.5 is good for
standards.
From your
standards can be delightful.
Standards can be delightful, but they're hard to stand out.
Ooh,
they're hard to standard out.
This is an Alesmith. We've done them before out of San Diego. I don't have a lot prepared.
It's okay. I got to put you on the spot.
JT was but I'm going to be able to talk about them. So this was a beer that was bequeathed to me by my house guest later this week. This is from Chuggalo Ryan.
Oh, welcome.
So
Ryan. Later this week,
Ryan,
I'll be in Atlanta.
I'm going to open your beer with your beer opener.
Man, I wish I was here to say hi to Ryan.
So this is Alesmith Yule Smith, which is a summer holiday ale.
Wow, this is going to be exceptional. Exceptionally conversational.
I thought when I stuck this in my fridge, I was like, well, I'm not going to cellar it. I didn't realize it was a summer because I was like, oh, thanks. I threw it in the cooler. I brought it home. And I know he bought it because it was on sale. So, but you never looked a gift horse in the mouth.
Never do that.
But it's bubbling. And this is a 8.5%. So it's a summer holiday
What
ale.
type of horse could you look in the mouth?
Not a gift one.
All right. Well, I'm going to look.
So what's a summer holiday ale? I guess we'll find out. So it's called Yule
Let's talk
Smith,
about
though.
it. Summer holiday, mostly July 4th is what I think of.
That's got to be the summer
the best
holiday,
holiday of all holidays because
Really?
It represents the birth of America, the greatest country on earth, country that gave me all the freedoms I have today. If you disagree, feel free to argue in the comments section about which freedoms I do and don't have. Because I think taxation's theft. We mentioned that earlier.
They gave them to you, or did you earn your freedoms?
Oh, good question. Excellent question. Both. Who would have given them? Well, God, I guess, right? That's what the constitutional drafters argue. Constitution, right? God-given?
Yeah, but they separate that. So endowed.
Oh, they do separate that.
Yeah, endowed by.
But I did earn many. I earned them all. I also earned the right to. I don't dislike. Here's an interesting question for you.
Ooh, Ryan.
I don't dislike the honoring the greatest country in the world with an anthem, but I do feel like the national anthem isn't a great song. Like by maybe today's standard, maybe yesterday's standards. I don't know what songs were like when that was written by Francis Scott Key, but I feel like our country deserves a spruced up national anthem.
You know, you besmirch his name, and that's.
I didn't besmirch his name.
That's almost more damning than bringing his bridge down, like you did, or you were.
I did do that.
You were.
I did. I was the captain of that ship.
That was a Navy thing. It was.
No, that was a
wasn't
container
plane.
ship.
Well, a naval asset.
It was not a naval asset.
I think it was
maybe the merchant marine.
It was the serpent.
And we all know the Marines.
It was the sister boat of the Boxer.
I do not think that's true at all. I can't confirm, but I do not.
The unfortunate thing is that crew couldn't leave the ship.
They couldn't leave.
They had to leave.
Investigation, right?
That's maritime law.
Ooh, boy. Maritime law. We all know maritime law is some serious shit.
So go check out. We've done Alesmith before a lot on the podcast. Just from memory, they're out of San Diego. San Diego's a powerhouse. Like when you talk about communities and you think about craft brewing, Alesmith has got to be one of the top ones, or the San Diego community.
Mm-hmm. When you think about storage wars and Mexican food, you think of San
Chula
Diego.
Vista.
And Petco Park, which is previously mentioned, aforementioned.
The second best ballpark in California.
What's the first?
AT&T. San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah.
You've been there?
No, but it's
No,
always
I don't think
it's
so.
always number one on the list.
It's
Always.
never number one. Wrigley Field and Fenway Park are probably number 1 and 2.
But that's when you rank you don't rank amenities high. You rank nostalgia.
Yeah. If I wanted to rank amenities high, then your White Sox and the Reds would have stadiums that are like so high up. Because you could not watch a single inning of a baseball game at either of those stadiums and have a fucking blast.
Well, yeah, that's like the same thing at
watching baseball.
Kaufman. So,
San Diego's great for watching baseball. Wrigley, Fenway, great for watching baseball.
So, there's obstructed views at both of those ballparks.
Fine, don't get that view.
They're shit seats. Like
there are shit seats.
But you just used watching baseball. Mm-hmm. So it's great for 99.8% of the fans, but the one person that sits behind.
So you're going to use obstructed views, there's like 5 obstructed views that may exist as your entire argument? That's not entire. That's not a fair argument. Not a fair argument.
You've got
there's obstructed views at AT&T, I guarantee it.
No.
Yeah.
There's no. It's too modern of a ballpark.
There's obstructed views. What if you sit behind some big tall guy? What if you sit behind Wembiana or whatever his name is?
You can still stand up and over that. You can't stand up.
You can't stand up over Wemby. You can't stand up over Wemby.
Well, if he's sitting down and I stand up.
What if you're Jose Altuve and you're sitting behind Aaron Judge?
Stand up. I guarantee
no way that
a standing Altuve that's sitting behind the individual can see over.
No way. Amenities are their own
nostalgia. It's those two ballparks, nostalgia and it's a huge.
But it's not only nostalgia. I'm saying like watching the game versus amenities. Amenities is its own ranking system, and I'll agree with you that those are probably high up there.
Yeah, and they do all of these ranking. They put different tiers in. You know, like
yeah, sure.
Again, old Yankee Stadium was the best. They should have never got rid of it.
No.
Stupid.
Why would they do that?
You're build whatever you need to. You don't.
I will say, the Reds have. You could go to a Reds game and literally watch none of the game and have a great time. They have so much to do there. There's so much at.
That's why my argument for Kaufman when the Royals sucked, they had Xbox rooms where you could just go play Xbox.
That's too much. Same thing. I went to the Angels Stadium. There's legitimately restaurants built into the stadium that the doors close behind you. You walk into. It's not like you go to the counter and order. Yeah. Like you literally walk into a Panda Express and the door closes. You can't even hear the fucking crowd behind you. Why would you do that? Because it's California and they don't love baseball.
I know there too. Well, yeah, because no one is from Southern California. Everyone's a transplant.
And everyone. And if you're a Dodger fan, you make sure you don't get there till the 3rd inning at least.
And
maybe
the Dodger
5th.
Dogs suck. They're an abomination. They're lips and assholes.
Haven't had them. And are they?
Yep.
And you already ate dinner by the time you got to Dodger Stadium. That's why everyone shows up in the 5th inning.
Well, plus they have like the stupid hot dog vendors outside with the mayonnaise and corn. Sorry, but you've been to Pittsburgh.
Corn?
Yeah,
they have street corn in L.A.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it's all the vendors that they have so much regulation. You talk about taxation, but the guy that's fucking selling street corn or whatever with he's not being fucking monitored or they're not coming after them. Hell,
California is a weird place.
But you've been to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is another top 5
to watch baseball.
Yeah,
great place to watch. You can see the skyline in the background. It's just the breeze comes in because there's no high walls. It's a really great place to watch a baseball game. I loved Pittsburgh. That was awesome.
Do you like with baseball? Because I just did this a couple weeks ago. But do you like with baseball that there's not a standard? Like in football, it's a standard field. In baseball, it's not a standard.
I like that there's not.
I like that too. Besides 2 stadiums. Well, they fixed it in Houston. In Tampa Bay, they can't fix it. The catwalk being in play, that's dumb as shit. And Houston having a hill in their outfield.
They got rid of that.
They got rid of it. Yeah. That's why I said they got rid of it. They corrected it. But
so Oakwood has a light pole a light pole for the football field that's behind the baseball field.
Yeah.
In the outfield, in left field of the Oakwood baseball field, varsity.
And do you like that?
No, I fucking hate it. It's stupid.
See, this is where I was.
But I like that it's different.
This is where I was going to go with the nostalgia trip that you have for these old stadiums. Even in football, they changed the rules. they put the field goal post outside of the fucking field of play. So JT would he'd go to the old polo grounds and they would have the old H upright where they would do the pick across the middle. Could you imagine that now? Like if you had the old H upright in football and guys were just running picks. Oh yeah. They would shed the, just throw it to me after I get, because the defender can't intercept.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Like guys would run into it. There's old NFL films of just people getting their rung, just running right into them, and then they cushioned them a little bit, and then they were like, "Oh, well, we can arch it over." But
well, football's weird.
I'm with you. Wrigley's magical. I will say.
There's. I like that parks can be unique. I don't know about putting hills in the outfield and stuff, but like Wrigley has a basket. You hit a home run into the basket. Really, what we're talking about mostly is the outfield wall. And that's probably the thing that's most different across all the different stadiums.
Well, that's where Boston wins by a lot.
Yeah, Boston wins by a lot. And either like Houston has a cool outfield.
Arizona, they have the
pool, right?
The pool. Wrigley, they had to lie. I've gone into that famously on the podcast in 37, how they lied to the commissioner's office. You know the story, right?
I know what you're saying, but I forgot.
Yeah, so in Wrigley, in Wrigley in 1937, they planted ivy because it's famously a brick wall. They had a late frost, and by then the commissioner and the commissioner's office, they still traveled by rail. And so a commissioner representative came, and they had to buy up all the houseplants because ivy is notoriously slow growing when it's like stunted. Mm-hmm. So they bought up all the houseplants that they could in the Chicagoland area, and they strung them up. And they let because they had to approve it, because that's in the field of play, because the field of play goes to the wall and the ivy grows out from it. It had to get approved. And the commissioner's office representative came, and they got to home plate, and they're like, we can't go out there, it's really fragile. Because it was all houseplants that were fucking strung up for the entire outfield wall. So they signed off on it. They said it looks beautiful. The commissioner famously came to a game like the second week in May, and the ivy was like waist high, and was like, "Well, I've already signed off on it. I can't." So it was built on a lie. It's a clever lie. It's part of the magic, the mystique.
And that's because they weren't going to allow brick walls.
No, because they didn't know about the foliage. The brick wall was there for a long time. They didn't know about the foliage, and they're like, "Well, we're going to do ivy because ivy is very stout when it's grown, but it was stunted."
Oh, okay.
So it worked out. Yeah.
It worked out.
Misleading the witness or something like that. But
you can still see the land maintainer's house. He used to live on the field, built into the Wrigley Field, like external structure.
Oh yeah, that
there's a house there. Yeah. You can walk past it. You wouldn't even know it's there, but it's there, and you'd see it. Now that you know there's a house there, I think it's left field.
I would gladly go to another game there as long as the Cubs aren't playing the Brewers.
Yeah, I get that. I get why. Fun times to go to the Wrigley. But
get another Masters and move back. I'll come visit.
I don't want to.
I have a rich history of coming and visiting you.
Yeah, let's do that. We could just go.
As do you in reverse, because you came down when you still lived up there.
Yeah.
This beer, I feel bad.
We went to Beaver Creek Bowling Alley. Beaverview.
I feel bad because he bought this on a special, because I know Ryan. He won't spend a lot on beer. But the fact that he bequeathed this to me, and I'll see him soon, and I will apologize as I embrace him. A summer. So this is a 4th of July. I don't know, palate-wise, if I associate this with 4th of July.
No.
And I think it's prime. I don't think that this would have been cellarable.
What would be a good 4th of July beer?
I don't know.
Something fresh. Let's think about it. Something fresh.
High noons.
Probably some sort of standard American Pilsner, like a Busch Light. I don't think you go craft for 4th of July.
Because it's a long day.
Go back to the blue collar, blood, sweat, and tears. We built this country on the backs of
rock and roll.
Fucking rock and roll. type of thing. I don't think you go craft beer for 4th of July. Go Miller Lite, Busch Light, whatever.
It's crazy. We talk about how this country, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention D-Day. So D-Day was just his last.
D-Day was really recently.
And this is probably going to be the last big one, being the 80th, where we have any veterans still alive. 85. 5 years is a lot to ask for guys and gals.
They were already 20 years old when they were there.
Yeah. But wow, watching some of the.
But we might still have Tom Hanks.
I was glued to the TV. He was there. He went over.
We might have him in 5 years too. He should be there.
He made a couple of the interments gold. So the tradition about making the crosses gold. So they take sand from the beach and they wipe. The name is a subdued. It's carved in the marble, and so it's golding the
at the cemetery there in Normandy.
At the cemeteries, multiple cemeteries.
Yeah.
And there's a joke that's made, and we're talking about history and nostalgia and pining on, and stuff that you talk about when you drink. That Normandy is the 51st state of the United States because people are so. We sent an aircraft for the 75th, and we did to participate in the flyover and drop some men off that were being dropped on the beach. And they didn't pay for a meal the whole time. And you don't tip or whatever because they revere Americans so much. And it's nice in a polarizing world when unpopular decisions are made and carried through that there's people that something that was done at that time 75 years ago, now 80 years ago, how the appreciation carries through the generation.
Yeah, it is. That's true.
So it's just nice to see. But
because that doesn't happen everywhere.
Yeah, all the video comments and it truly was the greatest generation. It's not close.
It'll be the last time that Americans are sent to war in that capacity, probably for the rest of human existence. That was just insane.
And the sacrifices that were made on the home front too to make that happen.
Yeah, totally. I just don't think we'll ever. I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of reasons to go to war, but I don't think that we'll ever come to an agreement again. That it would be necessary to send so many people to war. So yeah, you're right.
And it's interesting too because for our we're men of a certain age. I'm late 30s, early 40s. So if you do the math and you generationally, it missed my family, World War II, because my grandparents were early teenagers when World War II ended. So, but everyone in my family served in Korea. So that was what got my family, but far different, 10 years, 8 years later than, what happened in World War II. But
yeah.
Always try to watch Band of Brothers during this time of year.
Great show.
Great.
Definitely watch
Saving Private Ryan. There's just so, and there's so much fondness for looking at how revered those efforts were done. But anyways.
Excellent. All right. We'll try to do can art, but it's going to be tough.
Trying to focus on
Face
both.
Back. That's the app from the other guys, I think.
Face
Back. Remember the other guys with Mark Wahlberg?
Oh, the wine.
There was the app that he makes that he takes a picture of the back of your head and predicts what your face is going to look like, which is nearly impossible. I'd like to see that machine learning model. Can art. It is very 4th of July. There's some fireworks in there. Red, white, and blue.
So that explains it. Summer holiday. There you go.
Summer holiday. Yeah, there's fireworks.
It supports your assessment.
It supports it. It's probably 4th of July. But you mentioned 4th of July. Maybe subconsciously. Alesmith. Yeah, red, white, and blue all over this thing. Summer holiday ale. Not much can art. Let's just move on from that. This beer is interesting in that it has hints of the kind of the dark IPA profile from an aged IPA, something like and I'm not saying it's exactly like this, but I don't want to be considered blasphemous, but like 120 minute has this profile about it that has like, you know, that this is an aged IPA. It has this let's see, it's got like this bitter
Okay, I'm with you.
It's just got this like old bitter tone to it that I can't quite identify, but it's different from other IPA bitter flavor. It just has it's got this age to it. This beer has something like that, and I don't know if maybe this was aged at all, maybe aged in 1776. Who knows? That'd be awesome. But it is a DIPA, but that does not help. It says you should serve at 45 to 50 degrees, which I don't particularly agree with. Okay. There's just this dark hoppiness to it that gives you the impression that this might be an aged IPA. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it comes from. And I don't know what causes that to be in the actual aged IPAs, but this one doesn't appear to be that style. But it does have those undertones. That flavor is very good. There's a lingering sweetness that kind of maybe gives you like a fruit, maybe like a grape or a orange flesh.
Like
not a grape flavor,
mustiness?
just the sweetness of it.
Oh, okay.
Just the sweetness of it, not the actual flavor of a grape. And or even the orange flesh, just where that sweetness comes from, and it lingers on your palate for a while, lingers on your tongue. What's weird about this is that I recognize that I've had something cold.
Shit, this might be something substantial because
it might be.
I'm trying to look up this beer right now, and they haven't made this since 2000 or 2016.
Whoa, so that might be. It might actually be aged.
It might, yeah, because it's an Imperial Double IPA.
Okay. So if it's an Imperial, the alcohol is hidden well.
This is where it's tough to find the age on these things.
Yeah.
All aged beer should put it on the shoulder of the beer. That's my opinion, because that's where 120
I'd agree with that.
20 minute does it.
So it does have some. Like I said, it has some flavors from an aged IPA. Overall, I think it's a good beer. Is it something I want to drink on 4th of July? I don't know.
Serving a pint 45 to 50.
I don't even know I'm
gross.
yawning. Yeah, I mentioned that, and I said I disagree. It does well cold, and actually I think that the coldness lingers for a while, and I don't know why, but like in my, I guess in my esophagus, I feel like I've had a cold drink. It's weird. I can remember the coldness. It's a good beer. It has a lot of interesting profiles that are kind of top tier profiles, but it also has
they don't make this beer is at least 8 years old.
It also has some qualities about it that are somewhat average. So it's like, how do you balance? Let me get one more sip before I really know my score here. Yeah. Okay. I mean, you can tell that it's an Imperial, not by alcohol, but by
Sharpness.
the sharpness. Yeah, good word there, and some of the viscosity. There's some cloudiness here. I think this beer's for how it's delivered. Now, if this was in a can, I'd probably. What would I? If this was
tough to change.
If this was in a 12-ounce can, I don't know what I'd give it. It would almost be offensive to be in a 12-ounce can.
Yeah.
Because it's in this bottle, it makes it more special. It probably elevates its score, but I'm giving this beer a 4.0 because it is good. It's good cold, but it's not perfect. Like America.
So here's my grievance with somebody that's cellared a lot of beers and somebody that enjoys cellaring a lot. Make it obvious what year it is. especially when you know people are going to be in a cellaring program.
Maybe they didn't know that people would sell this.
They've been their Yule Smith Summer Series started in 2008. So
wow. Okay.
And
I was expecting
they
more
made it for
coriander.
8 years.
I was expecting more seasonal spices.
Oh,
maybe not coriander. Maybe whatever allspice or whatever the fuck that Christmas shit is.
I thought it was a Christmas holiday beer, especially when I got it.
That's
and,
what
like the time that I bought it. This is a very thoughtful gift. The price point, he paid $9 for this bottle, and if this is true, and it was 2016 was the last year that they made it, the amount of this was a shelf turd for a long time wherever it was. Mm-hmm. There's no, because I can't find anything that they've made. I'm gonna keep looking, but summer holiday. I'm gonna keep looking, but because it's gonna be.
I wonder if there's a secondary market for this and we just didn't know about it.
It's gonna be important, especially if I check it in. But let's just go with the beer. Let's not try to go with the age. So it's definitely the Imperial Double, which I like. I like a big bodied gal when it comes to a beer like this. I love 120 minute. I like the vacillations. One day I will do a vertical, but I need friends to do it where I'm gonna crack one for every year for like the last 8, 9, or 10 years, and we're just gonna go through and we're just gonna have an honest discussion, maybe with like pizza rules or something that's a palate breaker.
Okay, I found this fact out.
Yeah.
Do you want to know it or
yeah,
do you want to finish your thought?
No, please.
They actually make this twice a year.
So a summer and holiday?
Yeah, did you already mention that?
No.
It's a red ale for winter. Imperial red ale for winter.
Okay.
And a double IPA for summer.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
So off the top rope, I'm not too much more up from JT. I'm at a 4.25. It's good. I just have so many questions. Like, this is a beer like I would crack by myself, or like while I'm watching TV on Saturday or Sunday, and have a great day. I mean, it's a pint plus 6, so it's comes as double deuce at 22. But I enjoy this beer. I enjoy where it came from. I'm gonna ask him when he gets here. I might recap it and let him. Unless JT, do you want more?
I'm good.
It might ruin some of the effervescence a little bit, but then that way Chuggalo Ryan can, because he might listen on his way as he's driving. But I enjoy this a lot. I would buy this more and cellar it next to a 120 minute. It doesn't have the same butteriness as a 120 minute. That 120 minute with 8 years or any type of age you have on it.
So the red ale has a 91 on Beer Advocate.
Yeah,
that's super high. I mean, 91. That's really high. I'm trying to find like prices for this beer, and it's just not.
Again, I
want to know what people are paying on the secondary market, because there seems to be a very big following. Are we the people who didn't know that this was a thing? Maybe we're the bad,
Well, yeah. Summer.
I don't know. It just seems like this beer has a following, so that's something. The winter version has a high score on Beer Advocate. Whatever the case is, he got it for $9, so that might be a steal.
He's a deal hunter.
That might be a steal. Might be a huge steal, because this beer seems to be lauded. I still think it's a 4. And I as you were describing it, I was trying to think to myself, let's say that he paid $90 for this beer. Would I change my score because the beer was $90? I don't know that I would.
I would, because I'm just an idiot like that. I can be.
I don't think I would.
That's why I've always wanted to write down my score first.
I think I might have. I want to say that I'm going to be honest about every beer, and I'm as honest as I can be.
Well, like you said, you almost brought a beer, but you wanted to stay true to the game that we haven't done before.
Yeah, I like to. Yeah, there was other beers I could have brought, but we've had them, or I've had them. With this beer, it's like I could taste that there's an agedness about it, which almost I think maybe sparked you looking this up.
Yeah. Because I always post the beers. There's so much posting that goes on with each episode. I know, like, and everyone's going to say it, but, like, I try to, like, update the spreadsheet, update this, update, YouTube, update Facebook. Those are the big ones. And
Those
my
are the big
Untapped.
ones. And we got some likes. We got a like from Prairie.
Oh yeah, no, they
We got a like.
when we tag people, now it's tough because last week I had a hard time tagging them. I had to go to their Facebook page to find out what they're...
Yeah, I used to have to do that all the time.
Yeah.
Copy their name and stuff,
right.
Or their at. Anyway, so I thought about it.
You're going to ask me a bunch of questions? Is that what you're...
And I wouldn't change my score. It's 4.0. It's a good beer. Yule Smith.
And Alesmith is going to do no wrong. We're just in the wrong region, but Alesmith Decadence, bunch of Speedway Stouts.
Decadence.
Beers that we've had on this podcast.
Speedway Stouts, yeah.
They're all... We always say Toppling Goliath 450. This is just because those are regional beers for us, and they're a lot more readily available.
Well, they're doing something that's like uniquely them, whereas like this is an IPA.
I'm gonna give JT another hint. The beers that I've gotten you thus far for your birthday are not regional beers.
Oh, whoa, that's crazy.
Hey, are you still sitting on the brewery one I got you for last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still sitting on it.
Still sitting.
Put it with the Goose Islands that I have. I have a few Goose Islands. One is in a box.
Oh yeah.
It's like the Chicago edition or some
Yeah.
shit. It's got the Chicago flag on it. I don't know. I'll drink it someday. I also still have like a couple Russian River ones that probably shouldn't have been
blind
saved.
pigs.
There might be a blind pig down there.
Yeah, those are
and maybe a Pliny.
Those are freshies.
Freshies.
Like 0 to 6
Yeah,
months.
you can't save those. But I did because I'm a fool.
So, and again, that's my money-making scheme. I think whatcaniseller.com, what can I seller beer,
Whatcaniseller.com,
yeah,
that's a great idea.
where it ranks
What you can
the
sell.
sellerability of beers.
Yeah, I have some other stuff. I have Bean Spirit, still cellared. That's from like 18.
Yeah.
That's come a long way.
My oldest beer is 2011, and it's not a cellar
I don't have
beer.
that.
Yeah.
I don't have that. It's not a cellarable.
I don't think so. It's Infinium. It's a Sam Adams beer. I've got a bunch of... Well, on the spreadsheet. So I have a spreadsheet. Ask if you want a copy of it because I've got 84 different kinds of beer, but multiples of...
84 beers. I don't think
But multiples of
maybe
each.
10
Or
beers in my
something.
cellar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All climate control.
Bean Spirit should be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Any 2 levies?
No 2 levies. No 2 levies. Nicole's still looking for that.
She's still
She's
looking.
out every day.
Every day.
Every day since 2019 or 2018 looking for 2 levies. Man. Anyway.
What a life we live.
What a life we live.
JT.
We're lucky.
Right? JT, do you have closing thoughts?
Do I have closing thoughts? No. It's June.
I've got a thought coming up that we need to start thinking about.
Yeah.
Because
I've been thinking about it.
We're only 17 away.
Yeah, no, I've been thinking about it. What are we gonna do?
I've got a thought.
I
don't want to tip my hand.
I don't know what to do about it.
I've got a thought.
All right. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
That's it. If you have comments, you know where to put them in the comments.
I need to see Stev.
Thanks.
Have you seen Stev?
I haven't seen him in a while, but I text him every now and then.
We need to make that happen.
That's it. Connor O'Malley's new stand-up. It's sponsored by the Brew Crew podcast.
That's the push.
We did it. We paid for that sponsorship. Episode 8, 282.
282.
282. That's sign language. Bye.